a blessing that you have put in our life. We give you all the thanks and all the honor and all the glory, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, if you have your cell phones, please make sure they're on silent. And I will open the floor for public comments. Just a reminder that this is a time for residents to share with the council any comments, concerns, and/or complaints that you may have. It is also asked that each person limit their time to 3 minutes, as we do have several scheduled agenda items to attend to. And for record-keeping purposes, please stand up at the podium and state your name. Are there any public comments?
Good afternoon. My name is Matt Alderson. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of a company called Wolfberry Water Solutions. We're looking at acquiring property over here. We provide highly treated water to cryogenic gas facilities and chemical companies, things like that, to do all their blending. I've been working with your city manager on figuring out, how much water we can get from the city if we buy a property that's inside the city. I kind of understand our restrictions now. I did have a nice little PowerPoint ready, but the property we were looking at buying kind of got snagged out from under us, so we're having to pivot. But we would like to get on a potential meeting in the future to see, when you guys get your new supplies in 12 to 18 months, if we could get an exemption past the 75,000 gallon limit, because we would like to actually use the city water to treat instead of drilling wells and stuff like that. So we'll talk about that, I guess, in the future meeting when things get a little more ready to go. But and I guess y'all are closer to your wells coming in, but I appreciate the time, and we look forward to doing business in the city at some point. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Samuel Urias, and I'm here for two things. One is the trash. So we're being picked up once a week. They raise our rates, and we're not getting the service we're supposed to. Or put more dumpsters, or change those dumpsters to the metal bins, because those plastic dumpsters you got on the east side are not cutting it. And the second thing is, I put a yard meter in my house, and I was never told that I would have to recertify it every 2 years. And at this time, I don't have the money to get it tested again. Baltimore charges about $150 to get tested. On March, I had open heart surgery. I'm still recovering from it, and I'm still waiting for the hospital bill to come in. And I was never told that when we put the yard meter, that we were going to have to test them every 2 years. And they sent me 2 letters already, told me that the last one is that I got until August the 30th to get it tested again, and I don't know if Baltimore will be able to test it before then or what. And I would like to get on the agenda so we can discuss that also. And the worst thing is like the dumpsters. If they're not going to provide the metal dumpsters in our area, they need to provide more dumpsters then. Because those are not, I got members behind me. There are about 8 or 6, maybe even 10 oil field workers there. And they'll fill those dumpsters within 1 day. And there are 2 dumpsters right behind me. That's, like I said, if we can put it on the agenda to discuss the dumpsters and the yard meter, I would really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor and Council, Charles Leno, City Manager. I would like to take this time to introduce to everybody our new City Director, Savannah Woodward, and her husband, Justin, who works for our ESD department. So I just wanted you all to see, if you haven't met her yet, just to know who she is. Starting to make progress. She's only been here a little over a week, but already working with staff to get things done.
Welcome. Thank you.
Mayor and Council, I received a public comment from the West of the Pecos Museum. And it reads, Dear Mr. Lino and city staff, on behalf of the West of the Pecos Museum, I would like to extend our sincere congratulations on the tremendous success of the city's second annual Independence Day celebration and fireworks show. We recognize the extensive planning, coordination, and hard work that goes into organizing such a large-scale event. Your dedication and commitment did not go unnoticed. For years, many in the community expressed disappointment about the lack of local 4th of July celebrations, often choosing to travel somewhere else for the holiday. This event has clearly turned the tide, bringing people together right here in Pecos. During Demian, Executive Director.
Any other public comment?
I have one, Mayor, if everybody's done. Any more? Mayor, I want to thank the law enforcement on both sides, Pecos Police and our Sheriff's Department, for their presence during the beginning of the school year, keeping our kids safe, patrolling, being there in the mornings, early in the mornings, make sure everybody's up to speed on the speed limit. So thank you for all that y'all have done, and y'all had a good presence out there.
Any other public comments? Okay, we'll close our public
Yes, ma'am.
comments.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Hi, Councilman and Councilwoman. My name is Andrew Garcia, and I'm 20 years old, and I own Drizzy's Mobile Washing Services. A mobile car wash I started when I was 15. I've worked hard to build this into a real business. I have my LLC, insurance, and I pay my taxes. For the past year, I've had ongoing issues with one specific code enforcement officer telling me I can't wash vehicles on commercial property. I've asked the city for the law or ordinance that says that, and I've been told more than once that there isn't one. I've called and asked multiple times for straight answers, and I have not gotten any. Even when I have been granted permission from the business owner or manager, I've still been told to leave and even threatened with tickets. Recently, the explanation I've been given from city officials changed to say it's a state environmental law instead of a city ordinance, along with misleading information that has yet to point me in the right direction to resolve this issue. I've done my research and I'm willing to follow state requirements if that's the case, but I need clear written guidance on what applies to my type of business, not rules meant for big car washes. I've been told that the worry of washing vehicles on commercial property after reading state laws will cause contamination and blockage in the drains in town. But here in Pecos, we have little to none storm drains. Most of our water runs onto the dirt and evaporates here in Pecos. Many people wash their cars at home all the time without permits, without cleanup, and without any enforcement. Various businesses also use store-bought chemicals freely while washing down at parking spaces and drive-thrus. My business uses less water, and I'm willing to switch to biodegradable soaps if needed. I just want to be held to the same standard as everyone else and not singled out. First to clarify what the actual law, I'm here to ask the council for two things. First, to clarify what the actual law is for mobile car washes here in Pecos. Second, to make sure small businesses like mine get clear, fair, and consistent answers from the city so we can operate legally without being harassed. I'm just a young business owner and entrepreneur trying to do things the right way, and I hope the city can work with me and others like me to make this possible. Thank you for your time, and I hope you take what I've spoken about into consideration.
Any other public comments? Okay, we will close public comments at this time. We will go on to our consent agenda. Oh, and also note that Councilwoman Trujillo is present now. We go on to item E1, approve the minutes of prior city council meetings. The ones for July 24th, 2025, July 30th, 2025, July 31st, 2025, August 5th, 2025, and August 11th, 2025. Review the expenditure report and review the strategic plan report.
some of our trucks and stuff. Do we get reimbursed by insurance?
We filed the claims and we're working on it, yes, sir.
When was this? This was this year.
No, it was last year's. This is still damage that we're still being fixed. And we are, every one of these has a filed claim with TML, and we are going to get reimbursed for some. Our deductible is $5,000 per vehicle.
Per vehicle?
Yeah.
Wow.
Or per incident.
On page 18, I didn't understand how James Cook and Hobson, a reused water pump station, so we reuse the water.
Tell me again, Randy, I'm sorry.
Page 18.
18? Yes, sir. Which one were you asking about? I apologize.
James Cook and Hobson.
Yes, sir.
We reuse water. So do we reuse the water or what?
We do not. This is for pumps at the water station, or at the pump station that we have. These are the James Cook and Hobson are the ones that are providing the flight pumps that we need for our water and sewer for our pump stations and lift stations. So those are replacement pumps, so that we're not without. And we've been buying replacement pumps for each one of our locations and trying to standardize as many as we can, so that we're alleviating the downtime that historically we've had, where we're down for 2 weeks because we were waiting on a pump to come in. Could have thrown it to Kelvin.
Yeah, I'm ready.
I figured it must have been Kelvin.
It is.
Anytime there's a big number.
Right now, but it wasn't a very large amount, but it was something per diem for some kind of children's, I don't know if it was a charity deal or it was.
It's the employer portion of the discovery care that we have for our citizens, our employees that we offer. So that council voted when the school opened that up to pass a portion of it and use the same rate fees that the school passed, and that's just the portion that we have to pay toward the discovery school. We do have payroll deductions.
It's employee related, it's not.
It is employee. Yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna, you should see it regularly. They're starting to bill us every month. For a while, they were behind.
This report that the strategy, is that the half-year report or the monthly?
That's monthly.
That's a monthly report.
And by request, he's gonna start having one every month.
Okay.
There'll be a report on there each month.
If there's no more questions, I'd like to move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Have a motion from Councilman Saldana, a second from Councilman Graham to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries. We'll go on to our non-consent agenda. Item F1, presentation of resources available to the residents of Reeves County and the town of Pecos City following disasters and other foreseen events through the American Red Cross. This is Goal 5, promote open and consistent communication. Aaron Gomez, Community Disaster Program Manager for the American Red Cross.
Good evening, council, city staff, and citizens of Pecos. So as I said, my name's Aaron Gomez, and I'm the Community Disaster Program Manager for the American Red Cross of the Permian Basin. So we serve 19 counties in the Permian Basin. Reeves County is one of our counties that we service. I've been on the job since July 7th, but I've been with the organization for 12 years. So I'm not new to the Permian Basin of the Red Cross. So our mission simply is prevent and alleviate human suffering in the face of emergencies by mobilizing the power of our volunteers and through the generosity of our donors. It's a life-saving mission that we've stood by for hundreds of years. So 91 cents of every dollar goes directly to humanitarian service. The other 9 cents pays overhead for staff, and so we have a small portion of that goes to actual staff, and a large portion that goes back to the communities that we serve. So we really couldn't do that without our volunteers. 90% of our workforce is volunteers that are empowered to serve the community, and we have state-of-the-art training. For the Permian Basin that we serve, 19 counties, we have 2 full-time employees and 2 part-time employees that serve out of El Paso. So as you see in the green section there, those are the counties that we serve. So we go as far as Reeves and Pecos County out this way, and then all the way up far to Gaines and all the way to Sterling and Howard County. Yeah. So we have a large square footage of coverage, and with me being the disaster program manager, I'm responsible for anything to prepare, respond, and recover anything in those 19 counties. So what exactly does the Red Cross do? So we can talk about that. We have our disaster relief, which is what we do on a day-to-day basis for our disasters, responding to home fires locally, any type of flooding or any weather-related emergencies. We have our biomedical, which we don't do in this region, but fun fact is that the Red Cross is responsible for 40% of the nation's blood supply through our biomedical. We do training services, CPR, first aid, AED. We have some international services that we work overseas. And then locally in our region, we work with local VAs and stuff, and we do service to the armed forces. So providing immediate assistance after the disaster. Keywords is immediate assistance. So we do the initial assistance only, and then we do have casework that follows through that helps them the recovery process. So this was a home fire in West Odessa that we responded to. So this is by far what affects most people in our coverage area is home fires. This was a apartment fire that displaced 50 families, and that was in Midland. And we opened a compassion center for the families until they were awaiting to whether or not they can return home. And then we started casework, which we provided financial assistance, disaster mental health, spiritual care, and of course casework. Tornadoes. This was actually taken by our volunteer here, Vic. He was sitting at the tarmac at Midland International Airport when those tornadoes touched down and they were stuck on the tarmac. So that's the tornado that had affected us. We've also done other responses. We've helped with the migrant children, unaccompanied migrant children in Midland. We worked with other nonprofits to provide soccer balls, arts and crafts, and activities for the kids. We've also supported the mobile mass shooting that we had in Odessa, and we supported the community and law enforcement in that response. So kind of preparing for disasters, the preparedness side of things, what we do is we have a Prepare with Pedro, so we go to the elementary schools, kindergarten through second, and we do a presentation about how to get those kiddos prepared for any type of disaster that affect them. As far as our Be Red Cross Ready, which speaks about general preparedness and getting a kit to be ready. Something that we're going to be doing in the community, in our outlying communities besides Midland, Odessa, is hands-only CPR. So we're going to have certified trainers that can go out in the community and host 30-minute sessions to train the community in hands-only CPR, which is super important whenever you have communities that are farther away from any emergency services. And then readiness is just a small for organizations and corporations to see how ready they are for that. Another big program that we do is our home fire campaign. And so we started this a while back, and it's a signature program that we offer, and we install free smoke alarms in high-risk homes for home fire. especially the populations that have elderly or disabled. We've figured out that people have a 50% chance of getting out of their home safely if they do have a working smoke alarm. And in fact, the smoke alarm we installed in Midland actually saved 2 lives. So, and then providing support to our service to armed forces. We prepare them for military life before. We respond during difficult times. If there was an emergency back home, the Red Cross will get in contact with those individuals, and they'll actually pay for them to come home and bring them home to their families. And it's the only humanitarian organization that can do that, and we have a charter from Congress that can do that. And we also receive a small federal fund from the Department of Defense, but that's the only funding that we receive from the government. Everything else is donated, we receive from donors. This is about first aid CPR. We do have, train people in those areas, but we don't do a lot of training out in this area. The only thing that we would possibly do is like the hands-only CPR, which would be interested in bringing that out here to Pecos and training the local residents. So our goal is really to find ways to increase resilience in our communities. Resilient communities can recover from disasters more quickly and restore normal activities easier. So that's just, information is on the top right. If anyone that in the city council or city staff needs to get a hold of me, that's the way that they can get a hold of me. And that's all. So is there any questions or?
Have you, by any chance, gone to the senior center and talked to them about smoke alarms?
We have not. We kind of started our new fiscal year July 1st. So what my plan is to go out and really connect with emergency managers. And I've already done that, created that relationship here in Reeves County. And seeing how we can get out in the community and provide training to the community, coming out here and doing those presentations and stuff like that. So any information would be helpful to get us started in the right foot out here. So,
If I may add something, okay. One reason we're here is, number one, we would like to get more responses. If there's a fire, we want to know about it.
yeah.
We want to come out and help. But if we don't know about it, we can't show up.
Yeah.
Also, if you know anyone in the area here that would like to be a volunteer, we'd love to have a volunteer. We've got a couple of volunteers in Fort Stockton, some in Big Spring. This way we can get somebody there immediately to help the people.
Yeah.
Within a couple hours, rather than us have to drive all the way from Odessa.
Yeah.
So we're automatically an hour and a half away
Yeah.
before we even start.
Which I can tell you from June 1st, 2024 to July 31st of this year, we've responded out to Pecos only 6 times. We were only called 6 times. And most of those times were called from the client themselves. So we want to be called for
Communication.
every single call out here for Reeves County, and we want to be able to make that determination whether or not that those clients qualify for assistance or not. And if not, we can point them in the right direction. But like Vic was said, it's if we can get more volunteers out here as well, because our response time is within 2 hours, but then by the time we mobilize our volunteers from Odessa to come out here, we're looking at an hour and a half travel. And we usually don't like to put our volunteers on the road overnight unless someone has somewhere to stay, unless it's like immediate, then we can do that. You know, me and Vic came out one time and responded to a call later in the evening. We left Pecos around 9:30. You know, we're willing to do that, but we'd really like to connect with the community and make sure that we can get that response down time to an hour. And by doing that, we need volunteers here in Pecos that can help us do that. So.
Edward, is that something you and your team can share on our page? To say the Red Cross was here and hit the bullet points that in the future, should any residents have any fires, you know, call these numbers and so forth, so they can have it.
Well, we'd love to have the agencies also call us, the fire department,
Yeah.
police. That would be a bigger help. Because if we get a call from here, from the client, we still have to call the fire department to verify that the fire is there. If the fire department calls us, we already know, okay, it's verified.
Right, yeah. So,
I thought we had some volunteers here at one time, like Bill Oglesby or something like that?
We do have volunteers here, and just to be transparent with you, the last 7 years, we've had 6 people in my position. So it's really just a change of staff that's consistently happening. My advantage of me being in this position is I'm from the Permian Basin. This is my community area. This is the community that I serve. So this is where my heart is, in the Permian Basin. So I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. You know what I mean? And so just really about building that consistency of getting our volunteers out here and keeping them engaged. That's the key piece is engagement, and then they're going to be a longevity of volunteers out here to serve Pecos.
Okay. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
Your next stop, what I would assume, is ESD, correct? Emergency Service Departments. Have you reached out to those?
We're trying to get out to them. So yeah, that will be our next relationship to build.
Any information, just give one of our team, I'll help you out.
Yeah, I have, Griffin has my contact information as well, so he's been super helpful in getting us connected out here. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having us. Thank you.
Go to item F2, discuss, consider resolution 25-08-01R, a resolution appointing one alternate municipal judge. This is goal 5, promote open and consistent communication. Betty Ramirez, Assistant City Manager.
Mayor and council, in your packets, you will see a resolution that will be appointing one alternate municipal court judge, Ms. Betty Herrera, and of course, this will be for a 2-year term.
Make a motion that we approve resolution 25-08-01R. Second.
I have a motion from Councilman Graham, a second from Councilman Saldana to approve resolution 25-08-01R as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries. Go to
Thank
item F3, oath of office to Betty Herrera, alternate municipal judge. Goal 5, promote open and consistent communication. Wendy Lupon, City Secretary.
Monique, you can come your hand. I'm going to go ahead and read it out loud, and then you can say I do if you do. I, Betty Herrera, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of alternate municipal court judge for the town of Pecos City of the state of Texas, and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of this state. So help me God.
She doesn't need to repeat all that.
I make it easy for them.
Thank you. Congratulations. Okay, we'll go to item F4. Oath of office to Wendy Lupon, State Secretary. Goal 5, promote open and consistent communication. Griffin Moreland, Assistant to the City Manager.
Mayor and Council, Syra has volunteered to take this.
Don't cry, because then I'm sorry. Okay, if you can raise your right hand. Okay, so you can repeat after me then. Okay, I'm going to read it out loud and you can say I do. Do you, Wendy Lujan, Wendy Lujan solemnly swear that you will faithfully execute the duties of the office of the City Secretary of the Town of Pecos City of the State of Texas, and will to the best of your ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state, so help you God?
I do.
Alrighty. Well, this is your new City Secretary, guys.
Okay, we'll go to item F5. Discuss, consider resolution 25-08-02R, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into agreement with Chad Harvey Water Well Services LLC for the plug services of 5 abandoned water wells in the Ward well field at the cost of $99,500 $550.75. Goal 7, enhances Pecos infrastructure network. Kelvin Ridley, Director of Public Works.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. Kelvin Ridgely, Director of Public Works. What you have before you is a request that was given to the town of Pecos by TCEQ requiring that we plug the abandoned wells. And what that does is it eliminates the opportunity for contamination.
I have one question.
Okay?
Why was Chad Harvey's bid over Pecos water well service?
So without me actually seeing the actual bid information, I would imagine he was the lowest. If he wasn't the lowest, then he was probably the person that we were most familiar with. And the other guy came, now that I remember, the guy came in too low. So it kind of made us a little weary about it. That's right. That's right. Thank you for jogging my memory.
Mr. Ridley,
Yes, sir.
you did not indicate
This is not a budgeted item, sir.
where we getting the funds.
General fund. Yes, sir.
But this is kind of a have-to situation. for
That's right.
CCQ.
That's right. During our audit, they found these abandoned wells and they requested that we plug them
Or pay the fine.
or pay the fine, which will be much more than this.
I'll make the motion that we approve Resolution 25-08-02R as presented by Calvin Richter, Director of Public Works.
Second. Councilman Cross.
I got it. I have a motion from Councilman Saldana, a second from Councilman Carrasco to approve Resolution 25-08-02R as presented. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries.
Thank you.
We'll go to item F6, discuss, consider Resolution 25-08-03R, a resolution calling an election for the November 4th, 2025 general election. Goal 5, promote open and consistent communication. Wendy Lujan, City Secretary.
Mayor and Council, this resolution is calling for an election for November 4th of 2025 to place on the ballot 2 propositions, one of them being for the reauthorization of the sales and use tax at the rate of 0.3% to continue providing revenue for maintenance and repair of municipal streets. And the second one, to consider amending Article 2, Section 2.09, being compensation of members of the Council of the Town of Pecos City Charter. On your desk, a paper copy, you'll find some information on the sales use tax for the street maintenance. This is a tax that is already being charged in locally for sales tax. This is authorizing us to use a percentage of that for the repair and maintenance of streets here in the city. The amendment to the charter is a request from the council members. Do y'all have any questions?
Just to be clear, this is, the sales tax that we're already collecting is just how we're dispersing it once we get it.
Yes, and it is the same way we are dispersing it now, since 2019.
It's not increasing anybody's taxes.
Correct.
Mayor and Council, one thing that I would like to add, I have these conversations with Ms. Devon as well as with Heather. My recommendation from that side, or from this side, is I would like to postpone this until the May election, strictly because there are a lot of revisions to the charter that need to be made, and it's going to take staff some time to go through and point them all. And instead of coming back for a second charter amendment in 6 months or a year, it would make it a little easier. Now, I know there's an item on there that pertains to y'all, so it would delay that for that step. But just my recommendation, because we are going to have to make multiple changes to the charter. Heather's looked at it, and Wendy's looked at it, and there's a lot of antiquated stuff that we ought to revise the entire charter.
So the only thing that puts us in this situation is that the last day to call for the election is August 18th. So that is why we would need the extra time.
So we could go ahead. When does the sales tax, street maintenance expire?
We also have time for the street maintenance. The last option we have is May of 2026 as well.
So with the recommendation that the city manager did, instead of being on the November 4th, it would be next year in the May.
On the May election.
That would give us time to look through all the
Charter amendments,
charter that
anything.
has to be changed for. to get
Any
it to
inconsistencies in the charter that we would need to amend. Because any amendments to the charter does require us to place it on for election.
You just said it was August 18th was the last day to?
Yeah, Monday. Yes, sir.
So we're not gonna have time. We'll just wait till the May.
Yeah, there is an option to do two, and that's all up to council. Like, if we have to do it again, I'm gonna suggest and we're gonna work to make sure that we can update everything. So it's at the discretion of the council. It was strictly my recommendation, so we didn't have to do two elections.
What my deal is, I like to make sure that we do this one, do it right, you know, because it's something that has to go out through the public. And I just don't wanna, I don't wanna miss something that we're gonna have to redo again next year. So that's just my feeling.
This Proposition 2, I'm reading Article, Section 209, is that from the old charter? Or is this something that somebody's already proposed? The amounts?
The amounts have been proposed, Secretary. And they're up, those right now, for this one right now, the reason that they're on there is because they're all up for discussion. And I looked at it, and the only way that we can have that, and that's why this is a discuss, consider item, because everything can be modified right now by you all, just through a vote. So this is preliminary, nothing is finalized. We have the opportunity right now to modify any of those. The one for the sales tax, of course, it's just reauthorizing, and we have to do that every few years. The other one would be a proposal to the charter about the compensation. So that one is up for discussion. If any of you all disagree with the dollar amounts or want to modify them, now's the time to talk about that.
Who proposes?
I think Art did.
So that we would all have to vote on it before one person proposes.
Nobody can. That's why we're open here. That's why that's.
That's why it has to go
And we
through
have to
a
do it, and from that standpoint, this is an item that will not qualify for anything in executive session, so we have to have it in the open session. And it's open right now.
So this is a starting point, basically.
It is.
From here, we
And council
discuss.
can take it to as low as they want or as high as they want. And right now, we just need to get discussion. Councilman Arona, of course, is out with his wife, but we do have a quorum, so whatever you all decide right here in the discussion, that's what we can roll with.
There's other things that need to be looked at and updated, and easier to update everything at one time.
Well, I wish we all would have talked about this instead of putting us at the spot, last minute. I wish we could all just came together and had a conversation, a workshop about this, instead of going with one person's proposal.
Yeah, we did, and honestly, you and I have had conversations, we were gonna put that one on there, but I got opposition from two that said, you know what, I think it's too much, but the reason we're having the discussion now is because nothing is off the table. If you think that, because council, if you feel like it needs to be at the same rate or is something comparable to the Commissioner's Court, let's talk about it.
I can say internally and staff too, we did do some research and we were looking up, you have to also take into consideration, there's two forms of municipality governments. And one form is a strong mayor, weak mayor / council, which we don't have. What we have is a council manager form of government. So we had Griffin do some data research on comparing those two. So when you're looking at them, just make sure you're looking at the two different forms of government.
And the dollar amounts were all over the place,
Yeah,
depending
they
on
were
the
all
side
over
of
the
the city.
place.
So what was more or less, I guess, value or what's been adopted in our area with the population size and comparable to Pecos.
Griffin, can you
In our
do that?
area,
Yes, so our area, our pricing is actually rather high from what I've seen compared to other cities in the area. The proposals that I was seeing, like for instance in this resolution, are kind of in the middle of the ballpark compared to smaller cities our size, as well as kind of being in the towards bigger cities. It was the bigger cities that were charging, or not charging, paying higher rates. And then I listed like Houston, for example, they have a very strong mayor form of government, and they were paying a lot more than that would even be justifiable.
So I think before voting on this, it would be really good to have that information so that the public is aware of what our rationale is for wanting to put this out for a vote for the, you know, the voters of Pecos, so that they can see. And of course, that'll be up to the other council members. I'm sure everybody saw in the newspaper the commissioners' proposed salaries. So I think considering like it's a huge discrepancy. I personally would like to have more concrete information, like specifics, like the communities, the sizes, the amounts, including it if there are any type of benefit packages, if there's insurance or retirement, that's part of the compensation. So I would like to see actual, like, tangible, like paper or like electronic. I want to see it. Not maybe, you know.
No, and what we could do is, we can have a special meeting on Monday, and still hit that deadline, when you can hit it in the afternoon if you did it at lunch. So if you want, we can make sure that we disseminate that information of the findings that Griffin had, and table this one until Monday if council so sees fit.
Yeah, and then maybe on Monday, Councilman Orona will be here so that we can all be here and we'll all, you know, share our ideas and kind of give us a
Input.
a proper representation of what all of the council members think.
Is our newspaper here? I don't see them. Do we have our newspaper here today?
She's not here today. It's the first
Okay,
time
well-
I've seen in a long time.
One thing I want the public to know on YouTube, if they're watching, is that the roles of council and the mayor that you don't see behind closed doors. You might sit here and see us sitting on this table, but you don't see what happens behind closed doors where we're taking phone calls, emails, going to countless amounts of meetings from different departments and representation. I think as council is doing this to raise, it's not for financial benefit, but to attract more qualified, I'm not saying that none of us are, but in the future, potentially draws a wider variety of diverse pool of talented individuals that are willing to come and run for office and make it more feasible. But at the same time, we're in the HFC boards, we're in countless meetings during lunches, and we're fighting for a better community. And this community started walking, but we're jogging now, and pretty soon we're gonna be sprinting. So that's gonna require a lot of us to be in different places at one time. And that takes time away from my business, it takes time away from my family. I'm not here to financially gain anything, but at the same token, every person is worthy of their wages.
Amen.
And I think we need to get up to speed with everybody else, and I'm not gonna compare myself to Houston, Dallas, or Monahans, because what we're doing in Pecos is way different than anybody else. And we're gonna continue fighting for our citizens and give them a better quality of life, and we're gonna hear you out more in detail. But in order to do that, we need to come together with different entities, and that requires me going to meet with different departments to understand the challenges that we're facing. And I don't get paid for that. So I don't, right now at this moment, I don't agree with this amount. And that's something that we can discuss later, but I wish we had Pecos Enterprise here to put it on the newspaper. Yeah, all right, so that's all I have to say on that.
And I agree, because I had asked the city manager, when was the last time this thing was changed? And it was a long, long time ago. And we're not, this is 20, 25 years later, and things have changed. But even the scope of what we do here has changed. And, you know, I'm retired now, but I'm a full-time pastor now, so I get calls when I have to come and say, we may have a meeting Monday. We have a meeting Tuesday. So, you know, it cuts into the time, so all of us, and then the ones that have full-time jobs have to stop to try and come and make it. So I think it's time to, like I said, for what we're doing today, we're not here for the money. And there's no, I think people think that we get special privileges. We don't. We pay everything. We're part of the community. We pay what the community pays. And so just like everything else, as we're doing this work, you know, because we study, we read to try to make the best decision. We talk to each other. We go to meetings with the other entities to try and make everything, because we're trying to make a community that, and like Councilman Carrasco said, we're not just crawling now. We're fixing to start sprinting. There's a lot of things coming into town in the last 2-3 years. In the next 2-3 years, there's going to be a lot of changes and a lot of people, because where there's work, people are going to come. And it's going to start taking more time. Our city manager himself, I told him in the first of the year, you're not going to be a city manager anymore. You're a politician. And look what he's doing, having to go to Austin, having to go to Washington. And that's just part of the job changes. And as like us as a council, we're here in front, but in the background, this phone calls at middle of the night for different things, you know. And you know, I answer my phone. Now I don't answer my phone if I'm sound asleep, but I'm all for it. And however we decide, and I would like Councilman Ronan to be here so that all of us can decide what we all agree with, and then take it out to the community when it's time.
I got a call just a couple of nights ago. My wife did. And it was one of her friends saying the water pressure's low. And so I called Loopy, and Loopy gave me, hey, yeah, it's low, and I'm gonna have it fixed, and there's information. So, you know, we get calls, and like Conrad said, no, I'm not. And I was on the council back in the late 90s, and I believe I was getting $40 then.
It's exactly the
$40
same.
now. 25, over 25 years later.
Yes, sir.
That needs to be really,
It does.
But if the whole charter needs to be looked at, then we can't do that by Monday.
No, the entire charter is not going to be done, but if these two items want to be voted on and have the charter election in November, then we have to talk about it and do it on Monday. I will add to Councilman Carrasco's and Councilman Saldana's piece of it. The other thing that council and the mayor have had to do this year is, yeah, my job's changed, and I've had to go, but council joined me in Austin and in Washington, D.C., so that's never happened before.
the scope has
And
changed.
the fruits of those trips, we're already seeing some of the fruits of those labors. And we have a place at the table now that we never had. And so those are gonna have to continue. So there are incidents like that normally the public's not ever gonna see. We're not gonna hear about it. You may see a couple of pictures that Edwards is putting out, but I can tell you that I know Councilman Saldana, the mayor, and Councilwoman Trujillo, we put a lot of foot miles in both places. I mean, I was tired by the time we got there.
Sweat, I'm gonna stress that again, blood, sweat, tears, literally.
And so things have changed. So you know, it is one of the things that the scope is totally different. And as Councilman Graham just said, the dollar amount that you all are compensated is exactly the same as it was more than 25 years ago. So it does need to change.
And we're not in competition with nobody.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up the commissioner's salary because it was in the newspaper, and I want people to kind of be aware of what's going on, and, you know, I guess just compare ourselves with our other entities here in town, and the ESD board, 1 and 2, just kind of all put the numbers out there so that we can project that to the community, so that we're better informed and we can better inform our community, so that they see
our rationale for it, not just, hey, we want to get rich from serving on council, which is absolutely not true. I think we're all, we're not in it for the monetary gain. We want to serve our community, but like everybody says, you know, things have changed.
Are they gonna have to vote on county's salaries?
You don't have to vote.
On that one? You don't?
It's part of their budget. It's part of their budget.
And we
Just
don't budget
FYI.
anything like that?
It's Texas
Charter
law.
mandates that we have to do it through a charter amendment. We don't have that discretion, that's the way the charter is written. The other thing that I talked about is, I think, my recommendation to you all would be to put something in there, but maybe possibly put a range, and for multiple purposes. So every time that there is a modification to it, you don't have to come for a charter amendment. Secondarily is because if there is a downturn in the economy and it becomes not feasible for us to do that, then I think we have to look at modifying not only council, but then we have to look at how we handle the staff piece of it. God forbid that we're blessed right now. I hope we're blessed for a while to come. We've got a lot of opportunities that we're working on that I think will stabilize everything, but we're never going to have to worry about it. But I think it would behoove us and be forward thinking if we put some type of a range in there, and depending how it fits, pardon me, how it fits in the budget, that we had that discretion. And the council had the discretion without having to go back and say there's a charter amendment. Parker didn't yell at me yet, so I think I could do that, so.
As long as you don't go over the set limit.
Can there be a deal that there's a percentage increase every 4 years?
You can
or
put whatever-
at the end of a term or something?
Absolutely, that you, as long as it's put into the charter that way, and there's something, it would alleviate having to come
Or
back
a
every.
possible
Yeah,
percentage increase?
dependent upon
Wouldn't have to
budgetary
be, but-
restraints.
yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
And the way it was presented in this proposed attachment to this agenda, it put whatever X amount starting, and then it said, and it can be set later by ordinance. So it did give the council the authority to change or amend or do whatever they want to in the future without having to have an election every time. We don't have that power now, but if that passes, then yes, moving forward, the council could always raise or lower it by ordinance in the future.
Or per budget.
So can we do this Monday? To come together and,
We should table it.
I'll say one last thing, though. The public voted us, every one of us in this table, to do a job to represent them. If you don't think we're worthy of that, to do what you want us to do, then that's going to be your choice. But at the end of the day, you know, time goes by fast, and I'm not going to lie. I'm very passionate in what I do behind closed doors. And I've already been here almost going on 5 to 6 months, and the time passes by fast.
yeah.
So don't think I'm just sitting at home just feeling a title or having my name on this plate. I'm putting in the legwork. I'm putting in the work. I'm excited. I'm motivated. But at the end of the day, it's because I'm from here, and I want to see changes. But in order for me to take time out of my busy day, and I operate, and I say this humbly, 3 companies, and I'm a family to 2 little young ones. I'm giving a lot to this community, and I said I was going to deliver, and I know y'all trust in each one of us in this table, so the choice is yours at the end of the day.
And I've learned a hard lesson the last couple of weeks, and life is short.
Yeah.
You know, and time is valuable. And I don't want to put off something that we could bring to the voters in the community in November and wait until May, because life is short. And I want to do everything, like I want to take care of whatever I can, not just for me and for the existing council, but for future councils as well.
That's right.
So do we need to table this for?
Yes.
It's up to you all. You can make a motion right now if you want to modify it or change it.
That's fine.
Motion?
I make a motion to table this till Monday.
I have a motion from Councilman Saldana, a second from Councilman Graham to table this item until Monday's meeting. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries.
Thank you.
Item F7, discuss, consider resolution 25-08-04R, a resolution ratifying the approved agreement with Park Hill for professional services for the landfill permit application phase. Goal 7, enhance Pecos infrastructure network. Heather Ramirez, Assistant City Manager.
Mayor and council, before you, you'll see a resolution ratifying an agreement that was priorly approved. It just wasn't approved formally back in October. And then, of course, you've been getting updates about the landfill permit all fiscal year. So the resolution is just formalizing or memorializing what we've already done. And just to kind of give you a little history of what this is, the city purchased 151 acres, about 11 miles southwest of town along I-20. And this is where our new landfill is going to be. Of course, the permit process takes anywhere from 2 to 3.5 years just for the permitting process. That's how come you didn't see anything in the budget for the new landfill. It was because we already approved this for the permitting process. Of course, we're already almost a year in. We'll be almost a year in. So, and then in your packets, you'll also see a copy of the agreement that's been discussed.
So this is for the new one?
Yes.
Okay.
This is for working on the permit with TCEQ.
Right.
Mhm.
I can't remember, we looked at other, from besides Market. We did.
Yes, we did. And of course, as you may already know, our current landfill, we're on our last 2 cells. So time is of the essence. And we had to do an emergency to dig the cell 6 and 7 up too. If you'll remember, we did that this fiscal year as well.
Make a motion to approve resolution 25-08-04R.
I'll second. Have a motion from Councilman Graham, a second from Councilwoman Trujillo to approve resolution 25-08-04R as presented. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries. Item F8, fiscal year 2025-2026, Town of Pecos City Annual Budget, Assistant City Manager Heather Ramirez.
Okay. On the screens and in hard copies in front of you, you'll have a hard copy of our public hearing.
Do I need to open the public hearing?
You do.
Yes, you will need to open the public
We're going
hearing.
to open the public hearing. It is 6:30 p.m.
I prepared a brief presentation just to recap everything that we have discussed throughout our budget workshops. I do want to let you all know I also do have Miss Deandra Anchondo, our new Assistant Finance Director, with us today. She is the muscles behind our annual budget this year. Okay, so what's inside our 2025-2026 annual budget it'll cover our general fund, our water and sewer fund, our sanitation fund, which is also known as the landfill, the criminal justice center, and our airport. And as you can see on the pie chart, the general fund and the water and sewer fund are the largest funds in our city's annual budget. Okay, we're going to start with general fund, which makes up the majority of the budget. In the general fund, this does cover the majority of the departments here at the city, which is your governmental services. In there, you'll see like legal services and credit card fees and various expenses. Administration, which includes the city manager's office, the city secretaries, our community engagement and marketing department. You'll see finance department, municipal court, our human resources department, our permits, code enforcement and building officials. Fire marshal also falls under here. And then we have our parks and rec and our Pecos Proud. You'll see facilities, and we also have our streets department. Just to recap, this doesn't have every single capital outlay request, but it does have the large ticketed ones. So of course in our budget, during our budget workshops, you all saw funds being appropriated to improve the Bessie Haynes Park. You saw some vehicles. I think we had 2 ATVs. You saw some renovations to City Hall. We're also working on a City Hall chambers right out here under the foyer. It included a downtown revitalization improvements for down here on Oak Street, improving Oak Street, some security cameras, some access control, and of course some patrol unit terminals and software. And I think there's 30 of those for all of our patrol units.
Question on the ATVs, just to clarify. Big purchase, what department's using the majority of the ATVs? Is that the police department?
I believe the police department requested two ATVs.
For what were the ATVs used for, Chief?
So aside from city events, there's been some big area searches that we've ended up having to do where to get a person back out of a pasture, the ATV could have been extremely beneficial.
Okay.
We did find events like the rodeo, the Christmas lighting, that type of stuff. They're able to carry as far as cover more area with a vehicle like that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and you'll see them doing security also out at Cyclone, which is a very large field. So them being able to use ATVs out there helps too. Of course, you can't be driving your patrol unit through there. So.
You can close the public hearing.
Oh, I wanted to close it after this.
Okay.
Okay, I know it's been 3 minutes. So her timer was going off because a public hearing has to at least be a minimum of 3 minutes. Okay, but I would recommend let's close it after the presentation. Okay, we'll move on to, we're still in general fund. In our general fund, you'll see the majority of our general fund revenues actually comes from the sales tax, which makes up 42% of that. But of the 42% sales tax, 28 is specifically for general fund maintenance and operations. And then 3% of it gets cut to our Pecos Economic Development Corporation. And then 11% of the sales tax is that street maintenance tax that Wendy was discussing earlier to reauthorize. And then of course, the second big revenue source for general fund is our property tax. That makes up 28%. Okay. Also in our general fund of that sales tax, where does it come from and where is it distributed? Of course, when you go to the store, you go to restaurants, you see that 8.25% sales tax. In Texas, the base sales tax rate is 6.25, and that goes directly to the state of Texas. Of course, they get the entire 8.25, but then they redirect 2%. Of the 2% that's remaining to make up the 8.25, 1% of that comes to the city, and then there's the redistribution of a portion goes to EDC, a portion goes to the street maintenance tax, and then of course the hospital and the county, they split the other 1%. On our general fund expenditures, moving on to the next one, you'll see that our police department and investigations, that's one of our larger departments, they make up about 23% of the general fund expenditures, with streets making up about 17% of the general fund, parks coming in at 12%, and admin making up about the other 8%. Of course, there's a bunch of smaller departments. You got your animal control, your dispatch, code enforcement. The P&I on the top is just our principal and interest for one of our bonds. Or two, sorry, makes up 2 bond payments. Yes, sir. You have a question?
No.
Oh, okay, sorry, I thought you were gonna ask me a question. Before we move on to the next one, do y'all have any questions about general fund revenues, expenditures, sales tax? Okay, we're gonna move on to our water and sewer fund. And in our water and sewer fund, we also have multiple departments. We have our water distribution, our water production, the sewer collection, our wastewater treatment plant. We have utility billing, which is located here at City Hall. And then, of course, we have our bulk water sales. They make up a big portion of our revenue, the bulk water sales. During our workshops, you saw some of the capital improvement projects. This isn't the complete list, but these are just to highlight some of those. We're in the budget, we budgeted for a new vac contract. We have a water pressure improvements project in the budget. We've got water tower improvements. That's that multi-year agreement we have with McGuire. Booster pump station renovations. There was a few generators, one for the booster pump station, one to be located at the wastewater treatment plant. Still upgrading our Madera Valley infrastructure. This is to get the new meters, the city's meters placed in there. And then you'll see the Lincoln Street water line with valves project inside our water and sewer fund. Okay, any questions? Moving on, our sanitation and landfill. Inside our landfill department, we have our, of course, the trash collection, which is the garbage trucks that go around. We have landfill services. This is the majority of commercial businesses that have accounts that go dispose of their trash at our landfill. We have a cleanup crew. They do the maintenance in the alleys and in the city limits and around the landfill area. That's where they kind of differ from our Pecos Proud cleanup crew, because Pecos Proud is on like the main corridors. And then, of course, the roll-off service. And then in their budget for capital, we are going to be purchasing some more 3-yard dumpsters. Yes, they are the metal dumpsters.
Are those the metal dumpsters?
Yes. I was like, I need to ask. They are the metal dumpsters.
You're gonna get them on the east side?
I don't have that plan in front of me of where they're going and replacing, but I do know we're purchasing more metal dumpsters.
You need to get those plastic dumpsters out of there and put those metal ones back.
For the dumpsters, look at capital outlay for dumpsters. I'll get that number for you. You'll also see in the budget the Kubotas. The largest capital outlay request was for a new scraper, which we're leasing right now. So we may use fund balance or continue leasing for the scraper. And then, of course, a skid steer and some attachments.
$181,000.
So $181,000. Yes, sir. Okay, we're gonna move on to the Criminal Justice Center. This is, that's a 96-bed facility. We do house their local inmates and U.S. Marshal inmates. We do have a contract with the U.S. Marshal inmates as they reimburse us to hold them here, and that is a contract as discussed during budget workshop that we're in the process of renewing and negotiating. Some of the capital outlay request for CJC was a new transport van, another vehicle which would be for admin, and then some new vests. Okay, moving on to our Pecos Municipal Airport. So our Pecos Municipal Airport, it is a part of our governmental funds. Of course, we treat it like an enterprise, but it is part of governmental. The majority of revenues for the airport fund does come from our oil and gas royalties. Something new you saw last year and we pointed out again this year during our budget workshops was our fuel flowage fee that the city gets a cut of now with our contract out there at our fixed-based operation at the airport. What you also saw in the airport was we budgeted for airside lighting, which we're going to be going for a grant, a 90-10 grant to assist with that project. We'll be doing updates to the electrical bank housing and some wayfinding apparatuses. Those need to be replaced.
What's the guy that owns the airport?
Is it Coley?
Yeah. I met him last week and does he help us with the grants or?
No, that's done.
We do the Holly and Mary Carmen take care of that.
Yes, any airport grants, that's internal with Holly and Mary Carmen. And as you do know, last year, well, actually for the last few years, council had been budgeting to update the terminal, which is now complete. Okay, moving on. Our hotel occupancy fund. So this isn't a part of our annual operating, although we kind of treat it like an annual operating fund. The reason it's not an annual operating budget is because it's a special revenue fund. Of course, that's the hot tax. That's the tax that comes in from the heads and beds from the hotels. This was the money we used to do phase 2 of Cyclone Ballparks, which is currently being managed by Sports Facilities. This year, although we did treat it as an annual operating budget, you did see new, we budgeted $400,000 for our new CVB department. No, that's not a salary. Someone asked me, so just to clarify, that's for the entire CVB department. And of course, this is the same fund where the museum comes and does request, and various organizations or people, yes, or events that'll go before.
Money for films.
Yes, that too. Of course, that'll go through the hot tax committee, and then it'll come to council. Okay, moving on, just to discuss the city's outstanding debt as of September 30th, 2025. We do have 6 issues out there. In our debt, just the principal only is almost $46 million. And then, of course, we did just see, so next year's budget, you'll see the Series 2025, which that was the Series 2025 budget for next year is for our new well fields. That's the one where the USDA, we got the $15 million grant as well. Okay, and moving on, just to recap everything we discussed in all of our budget workshops and here tonight is, with all the funds, our total operating is $39 million, a little over $39 million, and our capital this year is almost $22 million. And then, of course, this is Charles's favorite quote. He always says this during our budget. The 2025-2026 annual budget, its purpose is to focus on maintaining public services at the highest level possible.
Just a comment, it's bothering me when we went through our budget workshop, that professional services, can we get that more broken out?
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes in there that doesn't really qualify for professional services. You know, repairs and stuff like that.
There's no repairs in there, right? We do look at that. We can give you the detail on that. But Andrew's done a great job of making sure that from the classification standpoint, that we're taking care of that.
You know, it just adds a little bit more accountability.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I don't know if the public has any comment.
Are there any other comments?
Now we can close the.
So we can close the public hearing. It is 6:45. So now we discuss, consider ordinance 25-08-01, an ordinance adopting the annual budget for fiscal year 2025-2026. It's goal 6, sound governance and fiscal management.
Mayor and council, I do have something to add real quick. Historically, we've come to you and we budgeted in here our insurance premiums. This year, I just got them yesterday. As I've tried in the past, I mean, 2 years ago, we got 0% increase. Year before that, 0. Last year, 10. This year, I'm not happy because they came back with, I think, 36%. And I negotiated it down to 28%, 28.6%. And that has to do with, we've had some pretty significant claims this last year, and we have a couple of them that are ongoing. We have 2 that have ongoing health issues that are costing a lot of money. I can tell you that the incremental difference is going to be $411,927.60. So the reason I'm bringing it up right now is because we need your guidance. I know that we have not increased premiums to the employees for the last 5 years. Does council wish to increase premiums, or do you want us to absorb it through our operating budget? We have the room to do that, so it's up to council, whatever you all want to do.
Is there an option to where the longer somebody has been employed with the city, the less they have to contribute towards their insurance?
We don't have anything like that. It's gonna, if we do something like that, it's gonna make it extremely complicated.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I wouldn't recommend it. I can tell you from a procurement standpoint, from a longevity standpoint, our health insurance is better than anybody else in this community. And our current rates are subsidized by the city more than any other group is doing it.
What are the premiums currently?
Like
how much increase do we need, or what's the?
Well, it would have to, my recommendation, if council sees that we want to pass some of it on to the employees, we can spread some of that and put it in there. It could be a significant increase. From the employee standpoint, I think fiscally, it makes sense to increase the premiums after so many years. But council has looked at it as a benefit historically. It does help with recruiting and retention sometimes, because it's gold compared to everybody else. But I'm not trying to steer council one way or the other. We just need a little bit of direction. And the reason that we do is open enrollment is Monday, and Tuesday. So Cyrus is going to have to make sure that if there is an increase in that we communicate that to our broker tomorrow, so that we can get that done. And we didn't share this with you earlier because we didn't have it until yesterday afternoon.
What is the benefits of the increase?
It's exactly the same plan that we currently have.
That's the part that we have to.
And right now, what we did is we did shop multiple other plans, but the plan that we have right now is no longer available. The reason that we have this plan is because it's grandfathered.
Wow.
And the newer plans that we would move to would significantly diminish the benefits that our staff has. I'm disappointed. Okay, my goal is to get it down to zero. And with the claims that we've had this year, and expect to have probably in this next fiscal year, it's 2 or 3 staff that are causing that, but we can't discriminate that way in any way, shape, or form. Some of them, we did have a lot of other large claims. We did get those discounted and taken off because they're one-time claims. But some of right now we have at least 2, and it may be 3 people that we have with long-term major ailments that some of the meds that they cost could be $10,000, $15,000, $100,000 a month that they're having to pay. And so they're trying to pass it on to those.
So if the city doesn't absorb the 400,000 plus, then it'll go to the employee.
100, yeah, and probably we have 150 employees, and I don't have the exact number, but it's probably 100 employees that would do that, so that 400,000 would have to be absorbed by the employees of the industry.
You have any kind of, like a wild guess, what it would, the increase being $60, $70 above what we pay already, or maybe more?
100 or?
Well, if you look at it, and let's just say it was, let's just say it's 100 staff that we have on insurance. If you look at that, that's going to be, if you take that across, that's going to be $4,000 a year. So you divide that by the 12, it's going to be, about $36, $35 a person each pay period.
So it's about $70 to $80 a month.
It would be. Yes, sir. Sorry to hit you with this on today, but we didn't get it till yesterday.
I'd like to, I wish we were further along with some of our projects because that would take care of this. But we're not there yet.
Can we do a percentage?
Your discretion.
Not all of it, but part of it.
Yeah, I would just like to see somehow where, let's say you've been city over 10 years, you know, you're, I don't know, that, like you said, it's complicated. I just, not that I want to penalize new employees, I want it to be used as a,
I have a motion from Councilman Saldana, a second from Councilman Graham, to approve Resolution 25-08-07R as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries. And I need to say, this was brought up when we, on our Austin and DC.
It was, absolutely, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
They were.
Item F13, discuss, consider the 2026 Reeves County Appraisal District's, the operating budget. Goal 5, promote open and consistent communication. Charles Leno, City Manager.
Mayor and Council, Charles Leno, this is something that we have to look at every year, that the Reeves CAD puts together their operating budget, of which pro rata portion of it is passed on to the entities. So this is their total budget for this year. I can tell you that this is a second iteration. The first one was a little bit higher, that it has been done. I've been in communication with Clayton Snyder at Reeves CAD, and I anticipate, I don't know, Deandra, what do we pay every year, like $25,000, something like that to them? So it's split up in quarterly payments, and I don't, it will increase a little bit, but it's not significant this year. And this is a formality that all of the taxing entities have to do to accept the budget for, on behalf of the RCAD.
Because that fee is based on the appraisals and our percentage of the tax.
Of the tax. That's why that's why I say this, cities is much smaller than everybody else's.
counties, I'm looking at it, it's like 21%.
Yeah.
Schools is huge.
We're paying $100,000 a year?
No, we're paying about 25 grand a year.
A year?
Yeah. It's typically been about $6,200 a quarter.
Does it show here what they collected for us last year by any chance?
It does not, Hector. No, sir.
Showing proposed collection for 2026?
Yes, sir. And I can tell you that they've really improved. If you, as in the budget that we just passed, their collection rates have gone from about 94 to 95% up to 98%. So the collection rate has really improved with the last two groups with RCAD.
Can I vote on this? This, no, so I helped put this budget together.
You have financial interest in it, right?
No, there's no financial benefit. You don't get paid for that board.
No pay.
Yeah.
Get me out.
Yeah, then you're allowed to, Randy, from that standpoint.
I'll make a motion to approve this budget.
Second.
Who's that?
Cross.
Have a motion from Councilman Graham, a second from Councilman Carrasco to approve the 2026 Reeves County Appraisal District operating budget as presented. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries. Item F14, discuss, consider the approval of a memorandum of understanding between Reeves County, Town of Pecos City, and the Pecos Economic Development Corporation outlining the composition of the initial board of directors for the Reeves County Regional Mobility Authority. Goal 5, promote open and consistent communications. Charles Leno.
Mayor and Council, Charles Leno, this is kind of a follow-up to the RMA that you all approved a little bit earlier. What this does is formalize through an MOU the composition of the board. The county is the main driver of that, so that what we're proposing is that there will be 2 members from the county that are appointed to this board. There will be 1 member from the city that's appointed to that board, and 1 from the EDC. And the executive director of this board will be appointed by the governor. That gives us the 5 voting members that can move this along. And that kind of just standardizes so we know exactly what it is, and there's not others that we're adding at this time. This was recommended by our consultant, David Garcia.
Well, I vote that we approve this memorandum of understanding between Reeves County, Town of Pecos City, and Pecos Economic.
Seconds.
We have a motion from Councilman Saldana, a second from Councilman Carrasco to approve the memorandum of understanding as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries.
Mayor and council, thank you. This is going to help move it forward, so I appreciate it.
Do we have any executive session?
We do not.
We do not? Okay. So do we have any items to discuss at our next city council meeting?
Yeah, I think that's, well, that one we're gonna do Monday, right? The one we tabled.
Right. And then we've got trash cans and yard heaters.
And then can we discuss the mobile car wash, the ordinances that Mr. Andrew Garcia brought up?
Yeah.
That and plus the fees that are charged. City, do they get charged the $350 a month
For
car washes?
Oh, they do?
the mobile car washes? No, there's a fee. Right now, we don't have an ordinance, so we don't have fees that are set for it.
For the car washes?
So there's no ordinance right now? There's no ordinance. The only thing that there is and that I gave him is the TCEQ requirements.
And if we don't have an ordinance, we have to follow whatever the state law
State
prescribes
law
that way.
What does the state law say?
What is the state law? It says, the main premise that there's been issue with is the TCEQ regulations guide that, and TCEQ regulations say that you have to recover the water, the off-flow water, so that it can't just go into the water, into the sewer system. That's what TCEQ regulations are kind of stating. Doesn't mean that we can't prescribe and put an ordinance together that may be there, but it cannot be less restrictive than what TCEQ has prescribed there.
So they got to, it's their job to enforce it then? Since we don't have.
It is not, because we have to follow TCEQ regulations, and with us being a home rule municipality, if we don't have an ordinance that is more restrictive, then we have to enforce whatever state law is.
So do they pay us for that?
They do not.
Is that something we're gonna talk about more down the road before we open this kind of worms? Because you got a lot of commercial businesses on 3rd Street that spray their vehicles as well.
Yeah.
All these 18-wheeler companies on 3rd Street.
Yep.
So that's something we want to really.
Yeah, and we may have to get counsel from TCEQ and clarify some of that, because I can tell you that, as we know, the state legislature, when they put together their restrictions and requirements, sometimes they're very broad. And you come to a small town and it may be like, we may have a different situation than TCEQ planned for, but that doesn't mean that we still don't have to apply what they do. And we may have to see if, from legislation standpoint, we could get some type of caveat in their regulations. That would be my recommendation if you all choose to try to get some type of relief for our local citizens and businesses here. It would be an easy way to do it.
What about that fee? I'd like to talk about that fee.
Oh, we can't talk about this, sorry.
We get a little deeper.
We'll talk, mobile car wash, we'll talk about it.
Yes.
I want to talk about that.
The
On the next time they have the fee that I'm talking about.
The vendor fees.
For vendor fee.
Anything else for our next meeting? Okay, and we adjourn, and it is 7:16 p.m.